So thank you all for joining today. Our session entitled Tailor Smarter, Not Harder, using AI agents for resumes. My name is Stacy Robinson. I am a career coach here at American Public and American Military University. And so hopefully you will gain some tips and tricks on how creating and using an AI agent can help you in tailoring your resume. Today, we are going to look at how to create an agent using Microsoft Copilot, which is available in your student suite of services from Microsoft, how to break down a job description when creating your resume in this agent, how to use the agent to customize your resume, as well as how to use the agent to find what might be missing from your resume and how you could fix it. So first, let's start with taking a look at what is an agent. An AI agent looks at information, decides what to do, and takes action without needing constant human input. It can learn and improve over time. So the more you use it, the more refined your agent will become. Think of an agent as a digital helper that works independently to make things faster and easier. And we all know we could use that when we are in the midst of our job search, especially since we do need to tailor every resume to every job description. So let's start by taking a look at how to create an agent in Microsoft Copilot. So give me just a moment here to switch over and we'll take a look. When you are in Microsoft Copilot, you will look over here at your toolbar on the left. You'll see where it says Agents. Drop down to Create an Agent. So we'll select that, and this is where the work is going to be done. When we are creating an agent, we want to use natural language, just as if we would speak, to create our prompt. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tell the agent what we want it to do, essentially give it a job description. I have gone ahead and created a description that I am going to just paste in here. And since we want our agent to help us with our resume, with tailoring, and with doing a gap analysis, we want to be very specific when we're telling it what to do. So in this situation, we're telling it it's a career coach. You could say, AI, you are a talent acquisition specialist, or you are a recruiter. In this case, since we are looking at creating something to help you out as if you were working with one of our coaches, we're going to tell it to be a career coach agent. Your primary task is to help users tailor their resume to a specific job posting. You will accept a resume and a job description as your input. You're telling it what it is to look for. You must analyze the job description for key skills and requirements, compare them to the user's resume, and then provide a gap analysis. The gap analysis should identify missing skills and suggest how to rephrase existing bullet points to better match the job posting's language. Use a professional and supportive tone. So if you notice here, we've told the agent what role we want it to play as a career coach. We've told them what their task is, what their job is, helping to tailor a resume by looking at the resume content and a job posting. We want them to use that content and the job description as what they are working with, their input, telling them specifically you're going to analyze that resume, you're going to analyze that job description, look for the key skills and requirements, and then provide that gap analysis. If you're not familiar with a gap analysis, that's where we look for maybe where the resume does not match the skills or qualifications in that job posting. It'll be able to not only point that out, but then help us to rephrase those existing bullet points to better match those gaps and the job posting's language. And we want it to speak to us professionally and supportively. So we're going to input that into our agent and let it think for a moment. let it learn its job. And then it comes back with your agent has been set up. That helps users tailor their resume to a specific job posting. It will analyze the resume and job description, identify those skill gaps, and suggest those improvements in that professional tone and supportive manner. Next, you get to name your agent. Because I may get to a point that I might have multiple agents, I want to be really specific with the name for this one. So I'm going to call this resume tailoring and gap analysis. If you notice over here on the right, this is showing the progress as you move along. This is kind of, think of this as your test situation that you're seeing on the right. The agent's name has been updated to resume tailoring and gap analysis. Now let's refine what the agent would do. Could you specify any particular approaches, features, or guidelines you want the agent to follow when analyzing resumes and job descriptions? For example, should it focus on certain types of skills, prioritize experience over education, or use specific formatting for its suggestions? This is where you can decide based possibly on your industry. For example, if you are working in cybersecurity where those technical skills are a priority, you may tell it, I would like you to focus on technical skills. If you are looking at marketing roles and only marketing roles, you could say, I want you to focus specifically on those skills and qualifications that apply to marketing. In this situation, I would like to set up a general agent that could be used for a multitude of different resumes and a multitude of different industry job descriptions. So I want it to focus on the top key skills and qualifications from any job posting I get. So I'm going to tell it to focus on the top skills and qualifications in the job postings. We'll let it think and learn a little bit more. The beauty of an agent is you only have to do this background work one time. You might have used Microsoft Copilot or another AI platform when working on your resume, and every time you have to keep giving different prompts and different inputs. Creating an agent means you only have to do the bulk of the work one time, and you can circle back at any time with another resume or another job posting. The next thing it's going to ask for is it is going to ask for any background knowledge you want to give it. This is where if you have maybe a public website that could be geared towards the industry you are targeting for your resume and you want it to use that as background knowledge, you could upload a URL. Maybe you have a Word document or a PDF that breaks down some resume tips or tricks. You might pull it from CareerLink from our resources site. You could upload that here. It's not necessary, it is optional, but in the end, it does help you because it teaches your agent even more refined skills for reviewing. Because of time, and because I have tested this out before, we're not going to upload any background content at this time, but I could always go back and do that later. So we're just going to tell it to continue. Since this is an optional step, let it think here. We will move on without adding any knowledge sources as you requested. Do you have any other modifications or features you'd like to add to your agent? If not, you can try out your agent in the separate chat dialog to the right. So if we had any other content, any other tasks we wanted our agent to do, we could put them in at this time. I'm pretty happy with what I've asked my agent to do. I feel like I've given it some good instructions on tailoring, on looking at the job posting, on finding those key skills, and on performing that gap analysis. Over at the right, you can test your agent. But because it will not allow me at this time to upload actual documents as attachments, and I'm comfortable with my agent, I'm going to just go ahead and move on and create my agent. So up here on the right, we've got create. Let it think and do its thing. And then we'll be able to do the fun part, which is using our agent to tailor our resume. So I want to go ahead and go to my agent. And as you can see, it has now populated here on the right. It will stay here in your Copilot list until you actually remove it as an agent. So once you create it, you won't lose it. It'll get saved and you can come back to it at any time. So now I'm in my agent and I want to use it to tailor my resume to a specific job posting. So I'd like to show you the job posting that we're using. We're going to use a policy associate job posting here that we found. And I have a resume that is saved in my files that we will upload. So the first thing I think I'd like my agent to do is I would like for it to identify the 10 top key skills and qualifications in a job posting. So I'm going to tell it to identify the top 10 skills and qualifications in this job posting. I'm just going to grab my job posting here. You can use the URL or you can actually copy and paste the content. Either way works. And as you can see, it quickly scanned that job posting and it spit out what it feels are the top 10 qualifications for this role. This is really helpful when you're thinking about the skills that you have and how they might pertain to a role that you are interested in. So now that we have these skills, we can compare these skills with my resume. It gave me a prompt here. So I'm going to add my resume here. One thing I want to tell you about my resume is I did not include any personal information on this resume. So what you would have at the top in your header with your name, your phone number, your location, and your LinkedIn profile URL, I have removed that from my document. We don't want to put any personal information into AI platforms. So it has taken a look here at the resume and that job posting I had previously uploaded, and it's showing what this person has done well. Those strong writing communication skills, stakeholder engagement. It has taken a look and shown us what matches well and what might be some missing key skills or qualifications. This would help us in refining our resume. Policy analysis and translation. It says you've engaged with policy, but your resume doesn't explicitly mention analyzing or translating research into policy materials. So then I could go back, I could think about my experience specifically, and I could rephrase some of my bullet points, or I could add some additional bullet points that would better address what it sees as a gap in our resume as it pertains to that job posting. And if you notice, then it goes on, as we had asked our agent to do. When we set it up, it gives us some suggestions. Include policy brief writing, translating community stories into policy relevant narratives. And then it gives us some suggestions on what those bullet points might look like. Now, we always encourage you to use these as suggestions, but please don't copy and paste AI suggestions directly into your resume. You want to retain your voice, your persona. But this would help you in designing those bullet points or rephrasing them if need be. So again, it's pulled another bullet point and given us a suggestion. And then it asks, do you want some help rewriting your resume with these suggestions integrated? Feel free to do that. Just don't submit that as your final resume. Tweak it, give it your voice. One thing I would like for it to do at this time is we always talk about using good action verbs in our bullet points. And I would like it to take a look at my resume and give me some suggestions on improving those action verbs in my resume as they pertain to the job posting. So it is going to be help me improve my action verbs in my bullet points. Again, it knows it's working with the resume we've already uploaded. It knows the job description it is working with. We don't have to keep re-adding that into our agent. And here, it has helped us managing a database of stories and storytellers. It has improved it by changing it to oversaw, creating to developed and facilitated, from identifying speakers to curated and coached speakers. Again, it is using those key skills and language in the job posting to help us get a better match, do some better tailoring here of our bullet points. And it's going through each one of the professional experiences in that resume and helping us just tweak them, tailor them a little bit better, improve those action verbs. What now if I wanted to take a look and look deeper at that gap analysis? Where might there be some missing content or some missing qualifications? So I'm going to say perform the gap analysis. And I love how it will give it to you in a table format here. It has gone through and it has found those top job requirements, those top skills. It's shown where it is in your resume, how well you've addressed that skill, and it'll give you some suggestions on improving it, those suggested actions. So let's take a look here. This job posting was wanting policy analysis and translation experience. This person's resume shows advocacy work and committee involvement, but it doesn't explicitly state policy analysis or translating research. That is the language or the vocabulary used in that job posting. So it is going to give us a suggestion on how to incorporate that into our resume. Again, it is pulling all of those key skills, showing where we match, how well we matched. Here it's showing not clearly demonstrated, research and information synthesis. It shows you've done some data tracking and storytelling, but no mention of that research synthesis. And it gives us a suggestion on how we could include that. Now, again, ethical use. If you don't have a way to address this skill and qualification because you really did not do anything like it, don't include it in your resume. So while it may be giving you suggestions, if it doesn't specifically apply to something that you did, and it may be because we all know AI can hallucinate sometimes. If you feel like it is really skewing what you actually did to where you're not comfortable with stating that or rephrasing your bullet point into something similar, absolutely don't use that suggestion. And then it gives us some next steps. Would it like us to help us rewrite specific bullet points or tailor a resume or create a version of your resume that's optimized for this job posting? You can follow these suggestions. I would really like it to help me with the professional summary of this resume. So I'm going to ask it to help me better tailor my professional summary. Again, I don't have to tell it to the job posting because it knows that's what we're working with. That's one of the reasons why an agent helps us streamline this process. And here it gives us a rewrite of a professional summary tailored to that job posting. Here in Career Services, we like to see your professional summary be about 4 lines worth of text. So this one is a little bit long, but it gives you some good content to work with. And then it gives you its reasoning. We're helping you better align with the mission of the organization. We're highlighting those transferable skills and we're addressing those gaps. So I know this was a quick overview of using and or creating and using an agent to help you with your resume. Hopefully, you'll get in, you'll play with it, you'll experience or experiment with it. You can put in a new resume. You can put in a new job posting. If you are going to continue to work with your resume that you've already uploaded in this agent, but you have another job posting, you could come in here and you could tell it to now help me tailor the resume to this job posting. You don't have to re-upload your resume. It's already in that content of this feed you're working with, and you can move on from there. So I want to thank you so much for attending today. I do here in just a moment want to open up the floor to any questions you might have, any support we might be able to get you. And I want to remind you that you can always reach out to us here at Career Services for help with your resume. We have Hiration, which is our AI-powered resume review tool that you can locate through CareerLink. You can also reach out to